What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you very much again for tuning into this channel, and thank you for watching the previous video. And if you haven't watched the previous video, please go watch it so that you can follow the story of what happened to me. So I've got to hospital. I got to hospital, and my family got there, and everybody was walking up and down like 3-4 times. My aunt, my brothers, cousins, family, everybody was walking up and down like 3-4 times. And they walked past me not once, not twice, but 3 times. 3 times they walked past me without recognizing me. And when I heard that, like, I really felt I broke down completely, because I couldn't believe that that they couldn't recognize me, that I was that bad burnt. My face was swollen up. I had a ball in my mouth. I had a ball in my mouth that was holding me, my mouth from closing. I don't know what it was. But then after a couple of minutes, this nurse saw people just walking up and down, and she asked my aunt, like, can I help you guys? Then my aunt was like, yeah, I'm looking for my son, Adam. As soon as the nurse turned around and said, no, that's Adam laying there, they were also shocked. My younger brother, Thomas, the moment he saw me, he ran and went to go cry in a corner, because he couldn't believe what he saw. Like, he was hurt, if I may say so. And my aunt went to go pick him up and told him, you have to be strong, and you just have to pray for him. We just have to pray for him. And people came to me, like, I can't remember, but everybody that came to me on that specific day could speak to me, and I was just nodding my head and answering them, like, do you know it's me? And I was like, yeah. Do you know, would you want us to pray for you? And he was like, yeah. And then he prayed for me. And then the next day I went to what is this hospital? Netcare Hospital. What is the name of it? Netcare Hospital in town. I went to that hospital, and then there, I could just hear people crying their eyes off of me. I could literally hear like everybody's voices, and I could understand what everybody was saying. But everybody that saw me were more shocked to see me in that state, because you know, when you go through an accident, and when you hear about people going through accidents and stuff like that, it's especially when you're watching it on TV, you hear people saying, oh, this person is being burnt, and this person has gone through an accident. And when we watch, it doesn't hit us as bad as until when someone close to us has gone through the same situation or accident, you know. And for like weeks I was there in the hospital, couldn't speak, couldn't move a body, couldn't move like a bone in my body, and I was mentally losing it. I was mentally losing it. That I was like this close, like really close from losing my mind, because the medication, the amount of medication that I was getting, and the amount of surgery that I was going through, it was taking my mind through series of things that I've never been in, and the series of things that I've never been in. So my mind would constantly play all the time. The morphine would play with me, with my body. It would play with my mind. Every time, like every second day, I would go through theater for an operation, for something, and my mind wasn't stable. My mind wasn't stable, and my body was going through like cold, hot, like a whole lot of things. We was going through a whole lot of things up to a point that I was, even the fact that I couldn't speak and people would come visit me and I would try to communicate with them, and then nobody would understand what I was saying. The only person that could really figure out the words, not the words, like figure out what I was saying was my girlfriend. And I would tell her something, I would like mumble something, and then she would translate it to everybody else. And you know, we go through us blacks, and I say us blacks, we have this thing where we believe like in say witchcraft. Let me rather say that. I particularly do not believe in that, but at some point we will sense that it's happening. Do you understand? And I was so fearful of leaving this world and leaving my son behind and leaving my girlfriend behind. I was so fearful of that my mind would like constantly wonder, like, what could it be? You understand? What could it be? And the fact that I could not move in bed, I was literally laying still in one spot all the time. I could only move my head, but only to a certain point, only this much. Do you understand? And behind me, I didn't know what was behind me. I couldn't see anything behind me, but apparently there was a door behind me, and that door kept on closing and shutting, closing and shutting. And I must say, us blacks, and when you know you're hearing things that you cannot see, when you're hearing things that you cannot see, you know how scary that is. I would freak out. And the worst of it, I did not know the time difference. I didn't know whether it was day or whether it was night, because I was isolated and there was no window at all. I was like completely, I was like out of this world, and rather say that. And every time I hear something move, and I would freeze like this. And in my mind, I would like think that like in my mind, I would think that spirits are coming to me. Spirits are coming to me. The worst of all is that I would blame my girlfriend for that. And I would think that her spirit was coming to me. Because before that, before my accident actually, she would always tell me, it's my son, it's my son, it's my son. And then when I landed in hospital, that played with me. That really, really played with me. And it even played worse more when I did not see her cry. Like, for example, there's two people that I didn't see cry like throughout my whole incident, even in hospital. There's two people that I didn't see cry. It's my girlfriend and my aunt. As much as I wanted to see them cry, they were stronger than anybody else. Because people like literally broke down when it came to me, but they would go and cry at home, and then when it come toward in front of me, they would be the strongest woman on planet. They would not share a tear with me in order to encourage me to be strong. But I could not see that. So I would always wonder, like, why are these ladies not crying? Do they not care about me or not? Do they not care about me or not? But then I only understood it later. And the fact that, like, she would tell me, it's my son. To me, it played with my mind, like, heavily played with my mind heavily, especially when I was in hospital. Because I would think that her spirit would fight with my spirit, like her wanting me to leave this earth because she wanted to be with my son, like, by herself, which was it was a selfish thought, but I couldn't help but think that, because of the amount of things that I was going through. I was just going through like crazy things. And every time I would hear something in a hospital, I would like, get out of here. In Jesus' name, you get out of here. Knowing that I'm talking to myself. Knowing that I was talking to myself, and it was nothing at all. That driven me to me seeing things. I started seeing things in a hospital that was not there at all. It was not there at all. Because every time I would go to theater, come back from theater, from surgery, then my body would freeze. I would wake up in a different world. I would wake up in a different mindset, in a different world. And up to a point that I was laying in a hospital, and my mind saw things that was not there. And then I asked the nurse, like, what are they doing here? Can you please tell them to leave? The nurse looked at me, and then she looked at where I pointed at, and she was like, there's nobody there, there's nothing there. And I was like, I can see them. How come you cannot see them? I can see them. That night, I was so scared. I was so scared that I didn't sleep at all that night. I did not sleep at all. And like, I could see them looking at me, telling me, like, we're coming for you. We are coming for you. That was the most scariest night out of all the nights that I've been today. Okay, not the scariest. I couldn't sleep at all, and I just stayed awake the whole night. And then the nurse just looked at me, and then she walked away. She walked away because she was probably telling herself, this dude is probably going crazy, which I was at that time. I was going crazy. This close. That made me understand that, like, sometimes when I watch movies and see people like go in hospital, and then all of a sudden they just turn out to just go crazy, they lose their mind. I really felt that. I like really felt that. Seeing things that was inexistent. You know, hearing things that was just like the bin moving, and my mind would go through screens. I was like, yo, God, please help me. Please help me. Then that night, I didn't sleep at all. Then the next night, I went to theater and I came back. Then after theater, my body was like extremely hot. Extremely hot. I called the nurse. I told her to switch on the aircon, and she told me the aircon was on, but I was burning from inside. And she just couldn't understand what I was feeling, which I don't blame her, but nobody could understand what I was feeling. And she was so sweet that she brought a fan in front of me, but the fan was not helping me at all. The fan was not helping me at all because I could still feel the heat within inside me, but it was the medication. I didn't know what it was. I literally thought like something is happening to my body, which I don't know what it was, because all of a sudden I was normal, but then I'm burning from the inside. I was so frustrated that day that I threw, even with a cast in my hand, I threw the fan over. That nurse ran out of the hospital, out of the room. She ran out of the room, and then she went to go call the doctor. I was so frustrated. The doctor came to me and started shouting at me like, you need to behave now. You need to calm down. Everything is going to be fine. It's the medications. And I was so pissed off at the doctor, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak because I had a tube in my throat. And the worst is that I kept on asking the doctor for water because I was so thirsty. I kept on asking the doctor for water, but every time I asked her for water, she would ignore me and then just walk away because she knew she couldn't do anything about it. And and then that night, when family came, they visit, they spoke to me, and then I walked, then they left. But what is the saddest thing for me on my mind, the thing that was on my mind a lot as well, was me thinking on how my face would look when I leave the hospital, because my lips was burned. So like my whole face was burned. But then, you know, when you get burnt, your face deforms. Sometimes to the worst, but sometimes not as bad. And every time I was in hospital, they kept on putting ointment on my lip. I kept on feeling my lip shape. With my tongue while it was closed, and I kept on seeing, you know, when you know what the WhatsApp emojis, you get the happy smile, you get the normal straight smile, and you get the sad smile, the sad faces, I mean. And every time I felt my lip shape, I kept on feeling that sad. And I was sitting and thinking like, damn, I really don't want to look like a sad person, because that's not what I am. And you know, you get certain people who have naturally, even though they're not sad, they have this natural face that you will think that they're sad, or you'll think that they're upset, but they're not. That's just the way they are born. Do you understand? And I was fearful of having that face. I was really fearful of having that face, because every time I felt my lip looked like it's in a sad mode, and I kept on moving my mouth, or I don't know, I kept on trying to frown in a way so that my lips can look like as normal as possible as I was previously, because I didn't really want to like face people, and people kept on asking me like, why are you sad? That's one of the things that really bothered me a lot. Looking sad when you're not. Looking upset when you're not. Then on that night, I told myself, God, I accept myself for who I am now, and this is who I am. I love myself, and I'm not gonna let no one reduce my spirit from the person I am. And from that very moment, my mindset has changed completely. My mindset changed completely to a point that I was smiling a lot. I was smiling a lot. I was friendly with everybody. Friendly with every single nurse in that hospital. I was so talkative even though I had no voice. I was so talkative, so playful that they all fell in love with my personality. They all fell in love with my personality. And that is what made me like recover really, really fast in a hospital, because I set my mind to accept myself for who I am, and the positivity that I brought out made people fall in love with me, and up to a point that one of the nurses came to me and she asked me like, Adam, why are you so happy when you are laying in a hospital? You can't move a body, you can't move anything. And I told her, no, I'm happy the fact that God gave me another chance, and I'm happy the fact that I'm still alive. And that was around the time that I found out that I was gonna have a boy. Okay, the gender based. I found out it was gonna be a boy and not a girl. And that driven me to recover really, really, really fast. It driven me to recover really fast. And from there, I told myself, I'll give myself 3 weeks max. 3 weeks max, I need to leave this hospital. 3 weeks, I need to leave this hospital. But then the worst has happened. And a lot of people thought, a lot of people still think that me going through the gas explosion was bad. Me going through the gas explosion was bad. Getting myself burned was bad. Yes, it was bad. But not to the extent of what I'm about to tell you.